Hey, podcast listening people, Connor Doobie here. Welcome to another fantastic, I'm going to say it's going to be fantastic because it will be episode of B2B Mentors. Make sure you're subscribed on all your favorite podcast apps. And if you find any value, because I'm bringing this to you for free, top experts, CMOs, business celebrities, and do me a tiny favor, comment on it, share this. And I guarantee if not even for you, there's someone in your network who's going to get great value, especially considering the guest that I'm bringing to you today, who is a true technology expert, marketing expert, and from the short conversation we had in the beginning, pretty rad lady. I think she's pretty awesome, and I'm really excited to talk to you. So, Mariana, I'm gonna botch it again. Cogan, right? Mariana Cogan, she is the current CMO at People.ai, former Senior Vice President of Digital Experience and Engagement at PTC, where she pioneered the application of People.ai's technology to build the revenue engine of the future, which you won Forrester's Program of the Year for RO&I Engine, which is, we're obviously going to have to dive into that as well. Prior to PTC, Mariana, Mexico-born. See, I can't even read my own writing over here. What's going on with that? Mexico-born, you've held various roles, increasing responsibility in the software industry. And as you mentioned too, big advocate for diversity, inclusion, uplifting minorities in the tech space. So with that, welcome, my friend. Great to have you. And I'm really excited to share your story and, get that amazing wisdom out of your head and into the ears of our listeners.
Thank you, Connor, for the great welcoming. I'm super excited to be here talking with you and all your fantastic people who are listening to us today. Super excited to be here.
Yes, me too, my friend. I think it would be super helpful too. And what, you've had an interesting, kind of pivot and career path and everything. And also you're very, very well traveled as well. And so talk about that a little bit. What led you ultimately to where you're at now, leading a team, an incredible team over at People.ai as CMO?
It's been a journey. I think that when we all start our careers, we think it's going to be a straight line. That you start one thing, you're going to be promoted, and you're going to have your career. And it never really happens that way. So in my case, as you mentioned, I'm born in Mexico City, but I grew up in Mexico in a Japanese school. So when I finished high school, I moved to Japan. I went to college there. I studied economics. So I went naturally into investment banking. It was super exciting. And it wasn't really my calling life, but I learned a lot. And I used a lot of the principles on how I run marketing these days. But it wasn't really for me. So I went into, business development, sales, a lot of different things. And then, move into technology, software, where I have been for the last 10, 15 years. And it was just literally one thing led to the next thing. Technology, very exciting. It was the beginning of digital marketing. And, you had to have this a little bit more operational mindset, a little bit more data, a little bit more quantitative. And that's how I started going into marketing. As you mentioned, with PTC, a little bit more on the digital experience side of the house, really connecting, with people through, through the website, through digital events. And one thing led to another thing. It was a time to really think about the customer first and how things were changing. We couldn't continue selling the same way. We were kind of like casting the net too wide. We were not really thinking about the experience as much. And that's when, as you mentioned, on the same day, I bought from People.ai, 6 Sense, and Drift, 3 pretty well-known technologies in the GTM
Yeah,
space.
those are some small startups, right?
Some little companies that I went to buy their technologies, and with that, went to do the digital transformation of that revenue engine we produced by, leveraging People.ai. We were able to produce about $20 million in pipe on literally 4 months. And that, really set up things in a different way. Very successful. And it's been a wonderful career. It's taken a few turns. I always tell people in the space to be patient. It takes a little bit of time, and you should be doing different things. Because I was in banking, it allowed me to understand a little bit more how money works. Then I did, much more work around, sales and business development.
Do you mean like those who are looking at like marketing career paths specifically, like be patient and have some, experience? You see a lot of people graduating, or coming out from a early stage marketing career, and they're like going after these massive multi-billion-dollar companies trying to get marketing leadership positions. So is that kind of what you're saying?
It's not going to happen that way. You're going to have to take different roles. You're going to have to do different things so that you really understand your customers, so that you understand the full process, so that you can gain alignment. There's a lot of things that are going to happen before you make it all the way to the top. You're going to have to work hard, but it's exciting.
Yeah. I met a lot of very impressive, marketers such as yourself. And oddly enough, the majority who are really doing well are from very unique backgrounds that aren't marketing based. They're either like sales or technology. And, have you found that yourself? Like almost the best marketers, because they're great marketers, they have this very overview kind of outsider's perspective outside the window looking in.
Yes, I mean, you're making a very valid point, and it's the fact that
I may not be. Tell me if
I think you are. I am. I'm finding, a lot of the people who are very good at demand generation might have had a history in sales. It really means that they know how it is, the whole process of, creating pipeline, of closing a business. When you get people moving around, I just actually move somebody in our teams from having been a sales engineer, moving into product marketing. Again, you're bringing somebody who really understands the product, who really understands the value, who has been in the trenches with the sellers. So now when it comes to creating the messaging, it's got a different point of view. You just have to have seen many more things before you can say that you're an expert in one area, because otherwise you might stay a little bit too tactical rather than being able to really drive, strategy. And sometimes that, that gets a little bit confusing because you want to get really, really good at doing something. But if it's a little bit too early, you might stay tactical rather than being able to have this overview of why do things work in a certain way. It also lets you be able to concentrate more in results.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes because you have seen so many different things, so that you can take a different point of view. You get into this almost, diversity of thought that you bring to the table. Because remember that it's not only what you're doing, but you're going to be working with your CFO, with your chief customer success, with all these different people, and you have to bring a very diverse point of view. And that comes because you have done different things. So I think it does apply to many of the very successful, heads of marketing, that everybody started somewhere different.
Take it back, because I was curious to know this a little more. Your experience in Japan and, what you've learned there. Is there anything that, maybe specific that you've kind of held on to that you think is unique to doing business in the US, and maybe even provides you a competitive advantage compared to other people who maybe haven't had that kind of experience?
Well, it allows you for a couple of things. Number one, when you talk about Japan, you are really talking about prioritizing relationships. And that's very important, as you're going to be getting, especially into this more digital world. You're going to have so many technology vendors. You really need to be able to build a relationship. So that's something that absolutely I learned in Japan. It does make you much more flexible to be able to understand that not everybody thinks the way that you think. It allows you to be able to create things in a way that are more, in a sense, more inclusive. And then you can also get into a few principles that, that I love. Let's say Kaizen, this whole process improvement. It allows me to be much more humble and really understand that, yes, I did my best, but it doesn't mean that I'm done. It only means that now I can improve. And Kaizen is that continuous process improvement, because there's always room for improvement. Never, ever, get stubborn to the point that you say, like, oh, I'm really good at what I do and what we do is the best. No, be humble. You can always improve. Another principle that comes from Japan, nemawashi. I love it and apply it, a lot. If you're going to move a tree, you first need to soften the roots before you move it.
Say that again. Say that term again.
Nemawashi.
Nemawashi.
Nemawashi. If you're going to move a tree, you first soften the roots and then you can move it, which really means alignment. Before you're going to do something big, talk to your different portions. Goes back to, again, alignment with your sales team, with your BDRs, with your customer success. Make sure that everybody understands where you're coming from. And then that way, that idea is going to fly faster and the furthest away, because everybody's on board. That alignment, that relationship, that continuous process improvement are some of the things that I learned in Japan that I love.
I love that too. That's a real, I've never heard that term before. So I'm learning here now. Do you you pulled up a book, we were talking about content marketing for recording and all that good stuff. What else do you do now from a personal development perspective? You hire coaches? Do you have mentors in your life? What do you do to continuously self-improve and especially in a position that you're at now?
You have to be continuously learning. That's one thing, that it doesn't matter where you are in your career. You always need to be learning, whether it's from podcasts like yours, whether it's from from books, whether it's from anybody that has knowledge. You should always be open to be learning. So yes, especially in this day and age with all the technologies, you have to be keeping always update. I always try to keep my mentor, my own board of directors, in a sense, you want to call it that way. There is a people that guide me through marketing decisions. There's a people who guide me as to what am I going to be doing next with my career. You always have to have that group of people. I always recommend to have your mentors, to have your sponsors. They're the ones that are going to be guiding you, but keep learning. There's wonderful, podcasts, there's wonderful content out there. You are in charge of being able to ensure that your whole team is always thinking out of the box. And you can only poke that kind of thinking and promote that kind of thing because you yourself have that attitude as to say, what's new? What's different? Because the world changes extremely fast. And the longer that you stay with, well, in the old days, I used to do it this way, or last time it worked this way really well, then you're getting dated and you are not able to be leading a team where everybody should be thinking about innovation and should be continuously learning.
Something makes me think you don't think outside the box, because in your scenario, there is no box. Is there?
Exactly, Connor.
and you've proven that. So talk about you've developed I'm not sure I fully understand, but was it a technology? What was it that ultimately People.ai ended up adopting? Share a little bit into that in some context.
Yes, so no, basically what you're saying is that, so at PTC, I bought People.ai.
And by the way, I won't even try to explain it because I'm just going to let you, I'm going to say it in the dumbest way possible, and I'm just going to let you do your thing.
So let me explain it to you how this works. So yes, when I was at PTC, I bought from People.ai. So what People.ai does is that it leverages technology to really increase the productivity of your sales team. If you think about it as a salesperson, your most precious resources your time. You got 3 months to make the quarter, you got a number to hit, and in order to do that, you have time. It's really your main commodity. You want to make sure that you're not wasting it. So what People.ai allows to do was to identify the right accounts. You don't want to be wasting your time with accounts that are too small, too large, to something that is just not what you're looking for. And the right people. Because remember that at the end of the day, people buy from people. And imagine if you were talking to the right account with the wrong person. You know, the typical person that is saying, yes, I'm very interested. Yes, let's go for dinner. Yes, let's go and grab a beer. And if 3 months later, you realize that that person was super friendly, but had zero background experience or even, empowerment for buying something, you have wasted a lot of time. So what People.ai allows to do was to really make that process, that engagement with people, extremely efficient. And that is not only sales, but it's also marketing. Because once that you know that that's the account that you want to be selling into, you got to build the relationships. Marketing has to provide the right content. If you know which personas do you need to engage, you have to promote those conversations by creating maybe a podcast where you're inviting the people that you would like to get to know, publishing a book that is going to be providing value to those people. So now you can match your strategy to the right people. And once that you're working with the right accounts and the right people, you start increasing the productivity of your sales team. So that's what we do.
It's like you're talking directly at me. It's like you're gearing this conversation directly toward. I love it. So the tech that you would help build, was this like in the buyer intent side of things, or like more specifically, what piece of technology did you apply to empower the existing tools they already had?
So we define it as enterprise revenue intelligence, but what, where you're coming from, as in what is it that now we need to take it, much bigger into the market? It starts boiling down to that messaging, positioning, content, branding, everything that allows to have a conversation that goes beyond the features and the functions. If you think about it, that's one of the hardest things for any marketeer in a technology company, is to avoid just talking about features and functions. Yes, they're very interesting. Yes, we're very proud of our product. But the product only exists because it delivers value to our customers. Our responsibility is to make our customers and prospects to be the hero of the story. Because they are the ones that have the problem. We're helping them to solve the problem. The tool comes secondary. And that has been one of the transformations that I've been doing for People.ai, to really get to a messaging that is, repeatable, it's simple, and that it's relevant, which is important. Once that you have those three components, you can go and create the content that is really, really connecting, that humanizes a product. Because again, the world has changed. And even in the B2B space, we don't really sell into business. Yes, we sell into accounts, absolutely. But we're selling into humans that work in an account. And because of that, it becomes really important that humanize everything. So that's a lot of what I've been doing at People.ai.
So true. How would I apply it, right? Like what would I input to get as an output that would benefit me and working in large accounts that we talk to? And same with our clients, right? They're selling to Fortune 50 companies, Fortune 500 companies. What is how does that work on that end? And I'll put this side up here too. If you guys should go check out People.ai.
Perfect. Love it. You're talking about potentially 3 steps. First, really start with your customer. What is the problem that you're solving? Then you can get into what is the value. And now you start thinking about the medium. It's only towards the end. You're saying, okay, it's social media. Where do your people hang out? Do you have a crowd that is a very LinkedIn people? Who are their influencers? Do they like reading long content, short content? By now, the concentration span, from all of us is getting very, very, very little. So adapt. I just did a product rollout, a couple of weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we changed completely the format. These product rollouts used to be like a full day and hours upon hours. People don't like that anymore. So we shortened it, and then we made each session only 10 minutes. So then you're delivering a lot of value in those 10 minutes and talking much more about, where is the world going? What are the problems that we're solving?
Mm.
Then you can get into that content engine, and, there are companies like yours that actually help accelerating this, because you cannot have all the expertise in-house. That's the other thing that you need to be humble about. You might have teams that are really good about, knowing the product, and you can, and you can really outsource certain things. We're starting to move towards the gig economy. It doesn't really mean that you have to have every expertise in-house. You can have a combination of people that are in-house and out-house. And then with that, you really get into producing content that really humanizes a brand. At the end of the day, we're just humans trying to do our best, the best that we can every day.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And on the other side too is like time, even just time trying to organize everything, put it, you may know and have that dialed in and exactly what you want to do and you need to get out there, but just the time of planning it, organizing it, producing it. So you get it. I want to talk about diversity and pivot here real quick, because I know that this is important to you and should be important to any company that's trying to expand. But why? From your perspective, what you've seen in your unique, arena. First off, how do you define diversity? What does that actually mean? And then how could me, as either a marketing leader or executive leadership listening to this, tap into diversity to, excel and propel our business forward?
I think by now there's plenty of data that shows that more diverse companies are more innovative, and more innovative companies are more diverse. By now, whereas McKinsey, it's really good with this data. It shows how more diverse companies really outperform, the financial results of companies that are less diverse. You can talk about different diversity. It's not only on the gender side. It's not only on the nationality, background component. It's also diversity in thought. It's really bringing people to the table that are going to be coming with different, perspectives. It's bringing people to the table that make you uncomfortable. Those people that are going to say the thing that at the beginning you're going to be like, what is this person talking about? Those are the people that make the whole team think and take a very different perspective. So that's why it is extremely important. It also allows you, in my case, especially, one of the things that I did at PTC, the more that you empower different people, the more that you can have flexibility, even before pandemic. Allowing mothers to have a schedule that, allow them, to pick up children, allowing maybe people that, now can be working from different places, allowing people that come from a different background and might have a huge interest in what you're doing, making sure that you have that diversity, and especially when it comes to minorities, because at the end of the day, as you mentioned, a few questions ago when we spoke about mentorship and sponsorship, sometimes it's hard to find that support when there aren't people who look like you. But if you can play that role to allowing for everybody to feel that they're welcome, companies can achieve a lot, and it really builds that win-win scenario. That is what allows you to deliver success.
I think those are, so how would you go about pursuing diversification? Because obviously there's what's the term? Uncognitive bias? Is that the right word for it?
Unconscious bias.
Unconscious bias. And you know, how can we be a little more aggressive? Because I agree with you in my life. I mean, we're not going to spend time on that, but I just the best ideas that I've ever gotten, and just the little golden nugget, the pivot that made a huge impact, came from an arena that I maybe never would have expected it to come from before. Could have been as random as a mother I met somewhere, or a kid I met somewhere, or another entrepreneur in an industry I've never even considered. And so back to the question of like, how do you actively pursue that? Because people say it, but how do they take action?
I think that you already are talking about the first step is that you're open to the fact that somebody that is in a different place that doesn't look like you might have something important to say. So that openness, that patience to listen. But then when it comes to what are the actionable items, when it comes to recruitment, for more junior people, go outside, maybe the more traditional schools that some recruitment, teams are used to work with. One of the things that we have done is that, as you know, a big difference between females and males is that if you put a list of 20 requirements for the job, men will be happy applying if they meet maybe 2 or 3. Women would want to meet all the different requirements, so maybe shorten that list. Maybe change a little bit of the order of the interview so that this person can first interview with somebody who will get them a little bit more relaxed, and then you can continue the process. So there are things that you can be doing, but as you mentioned, being open, and it's okay to hire somebody that you might not want to spend a whole evening of drinks. In the old days, used to be like, go and hire somebody that you want to spend hours together and have a lot of fun together outside of the office. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you hire somebody like, well, with this person, I'm not going to want to go on vacations. But it's so different that it actually allowed me to think in a different way. Because as you say, the one that benefited the most from somebody poking a little bit of a different idea was yourself. So that's what I would say that it is. It's just try to be, much more open. Try to facilitate a system that allows for many more people who are different to be able to get a chance.
Mariana, your career, your wisdom, it's inspiring. We appreciate you. And also, anything else, just 30 seconds, top of mind, that you want to share before we wrap things up here.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. This has been phenomenal. For all your B2B listeners, really make it about the individual. Really think about the fact that it's customer first. Then everything follows. But it's a customer. It's the right people, because at the end of the day, people buy from people.
Totally agree. And how can we help you, listeners? Any projects you're working on, needs, resources you're looking for, anything top of mind there that folks can reach out to you about?
Absolutely. I'm always doing new things, new ideas. So always feel to reach through LinkedIn. I'm a big LinkedIn person. And as you publish the episode, I would love to hear from people commenting. What are the things that people agree? What are the things that people disagree? That's also fine to say, hey, Mariana, you say this, but I've seen the opposite. Let's have a conversation. Let's make it interesting so that we both can learn from each other.
I love it. So LinkedIn, everyone, make sure you check out People.ai. Imagine you have newsletters going out and content people can follow and learn from. And obviously, there's a lot more of press releases and stuff that's out there on you if people want to learn more. I can't thank you enough. Super grateful to get the chance to connect and, build a relationship and share out today. Stick around for one quick second here while we wrap up. And for the rest of you, thank you. I'm so grateful for you. Much love to you. Again, don't forget, go connect. Please, 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 if not even for you, for someone else in your network that I guarantee will get great value from learning from these marketing mentors that we're bringing to you. Much love to you, my friends. Make it great, and we'll see you on the other side.